I believe 100% that the power is in the people. I believe 100% that once the people know what's up, you can't deny it. Hi there, my name is Tonye Aganaba. I use pronouns they, them, and she is okay sometimes. And on the spectrum of queerness, I identify as a little bit of everything. I guess you could call me bi, but I consider myself tri, as in try anything once. I work as a musician, an artist, and I'm also a facilitator. So in that work, what I do is I convene and facilitate complex conversations about social issues. Climate justice is racial justice. The two are inextricably linked, and you cannot have one without the other. Everything that fuels our issues with the climate stems from this idea of a racial capitalism. The fact that we have made our entire society off the backs of racialized and marginalized folks, off of exploiting other people's lands and then turning around and being so surprised when those same folks are on our doorstep. Our response to that issue or to that happening can't be to then further ostracize people. It has to be a response of, we have created this issue, without taking the time to really hone in and drill in on that fundamental truth. I feel concerned about how much we can actually do, how honest we can actually be, how far we can actually get with this movement. The Just Recovery Coalition is a broad-based coalition of organizers, activists, community members from around the world, specifically on Turtle Island, but it ended up having international reach. And basically they came up with 6 principles with which to guide our recovery from COVID-19. And of course, many of the organizations who were involved in the Just Recovery Coalition are climate organizations. I got involved with the Just Recovery Coalition because a number of my co-conspirators and collaborators in the community were working on different aspects. Some were on the policy side, some were on the visual asset side, and they were telling me about the project, and I said, this needs music. What resulted from that was an incredible concert where we paired up artists and organizers. They had beautiful conversations about what they're doing in their own communities, how they can support each other, what mutual aid means, what it means to show up at this time, at a time where we can't physically show up. And it was beautiful. There was a real focus within this work to ensure that, one, people do not pass over Indigenous folks who are, in the line of fire always. And then, of course, the second huge part of it was that whatever recovery that we have from COVID-19 has to be centered around justice. It has to be centered around making sure that people who have been historically marginalized and oppressed are taken care of first. Environmental racism and public health are directly linked. The health outcomes of folks who have, a huge resource project next to their house, or a garbage dump, or, people are having their waterways destroyed and damaged by tankers and whatnot, like that is a form of extreme racism, because it's not happening, on the mayor's street. It's typically happening in the backyards of Black, Indigenous, other racialized, other marginalized folks. And that is a political choice. We are making a decision to allow that, and I think it's absolutely unconscionable. And if there's anything that really irritates me, it's this belief that it's not our problem because we can't see it. That's shameful. A just recovery in terms of environmental justice to me looks like a revisiting to the policies that allow us to continue to put large resource projects in areas where folks that don't have the power to say no to them are. No more RCMP on Indigenous land supporting the government in resource extraction. Making sure that we are listening to people when they say no. It means deep, consistent, long-term investment in alternatives. This is an emergency. People are dying today, and we may not see the everyday results of our follies around the world, in Canada, if you want to call it that, but the fact is, whatever is happening in the global south is fueling immigration and issues here. So if we are not taking responsibility for our negative behavior around the world, there can be no just recovery. And I hope and pray Canada will wake up and say, this is actually our own doing. We have a responsibility to stand up and do the right thing. There's a quote that I love by an artist named Tonye Aganaba. It is the role of the artist to make the revolution irresistible. And that stuck with me so much, and it's made me understand and realize how important it is, if you have any kind of visibility, to use it for good. That doesn't mean just like posting in a black square. It means inserting yourself into these spaces, inserting yourself into these struggles, doing the research, and using whatever you got, whatever power you have, to propel those things forward.